So we are reading At the Dark End of the Street, Black Women, Rape and Resistance, A New History of the Civil Rights Movement from Rosa Parks to the Rise of Black Power by Danielle McGuire. And our sessions it started June 3rd and they last until July 29th. They are from 6:30 to 8.
On December 1st, 1955, when Rosa Parks sat in that seat in the no man's land, she faced her old enemy, bus driver James F. Blake. She was afraid, but determined to see it through. She knew that the more we give in and comply, the worse they treated us. Drawing on the spirit and example of her grandfather and her experience at the training center for labor and civil rights activists, she was able to sit in pride and dignity in the face of physical danger. Okay. And then the question I have for that is the strategy of using Rosa Parks as a plaintiff who was beyond reproach reflects the power of public opinion throughout the civil rights era. How could this perfect change agent strategy be used today, and would it be effective?
Well, I have to concur with Vanita. We don't. I'd say we don't have any perfect leaders, but we don't have any perfect followers either. So I don't know that particular strategy could work in today's context. I'm thinking about the reaction that people had to the murder of Trayvon Martin. And he probably comes as close to something we could hold up as perfect to try to galvanize attention. And even in his case, white folks tried to smear his image and and create the counter narrative that he was far from perfect. But there was something about that case, and again, I think like with Claudette Colvin and Rosa Parks, we were just at a point. Black folks are being killed left and right. We really are backpedaling, it seems, in terms of our ability to feel safe walking down the street or knocking on somebody's door for directions. you take your life in your hands. So as a sleep, as I said before in my little tirade, we've been hit. We've been through a lot, and we're asleep in a lot of ways. But there's still something about a case like Trayvon that could touch something in people that would have them willing to take to the streets. I don't know about take to the streets for 381 days straight like they did with the Montgomery bus boycott. Because the real work of change is, oh, Labib is back.
I'm back on the block. How are you?
Good. We're still here.
Okay.
I was just saying.
How's everybody?
All right.
We're all right. We're all right. We are on point number 3 and question number 3.
Okay.
From Georgette's notes. So yeah, I mean, I'll wrap up my point. That was basically it. That even though you think we're asleep, you think we're dead. I think there are still things that can touch us, like Trayvon Martin.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
We had an incident in my state. I think it was day before yesterday, maybe even yesterday. There was a babysitter that was babysitting his child in a home in one of our little quaint towns here. The little girl is about 4 years old, maybe about 4. Very smart little, bright little girl. She happened to be Caucasian. And she had a babysitter that happened to be Caucasian. What's been happening in 1955 and 1939 happened yesterday here. Nothing has changed. What happened, to make a long story short, is the babysitter, a little Caucasian young woman, made a story that someone had came in, held them there for 3 hours, and relieved them of their material goods, like their televisions, PlayStations, laptops, you name it, money, jewelry, so on and so forth. What this white babysitter went on to say is, when the police questioned her, she said, well, it was a black man that did this. This is a very good story. So the little girl, when the police questioned, actually before then, she said, and she described this person and how they looked. All black men look alike, so they said anyway, so it didn't make a difference. They went across the street, they're literally almost across the street to a neighbor's house, which happened to be a black man, a very intelligent black man. I think his wife might have been, she was Latino, but I'm not quite sure, whether she was, from Puerto Rico or Mexico. They had an infant, probably about 5 months old. They went across the street to this man's home, held him up in this house, questioned him for 3 hours. It was a little girl, when they showed him a mug shot. Actually, I think they actually, and please don't quote me, I think they actually came to the police station. They came back to the little girl, showed the mug shot. The little girl said, is this the man? And she said, no. It wasn't a black man. It was a white man like me. So they went back, mind you, to question the babysitter again. Her story started to fall apart really quickly. Come to find out, she had set it up with her friends to rob their house, to come in their house, and I don't know what she thought. Maybe the 4-year-old, little 3 or 4-year-olds are very bright these days. They're super smart. Okay? Whether she was just non-existent and wasn't there, or she been tied for 3 hours and didn't know it. So the story fell apart. They had the gentleman, actually the news, the black gentleman, and he was, he said, well, he was commending the little girl, number one, and number two, he's glad that they actually caught the babysitter in her story. However, he went on to say, well, the babysitter didn't understand the danger that she put me in. So no, we haven't come anywhere. I don't understand what were other people are in, but this was yesterday, or day before yesterday, in Connecticut. And Connecticut is that big. So it's probably a couple towns over. I don't remember the specific town. But this is still going on today. Just if a white person says it was a black person, it doesn't make a difference. Automatically, it's just like, chill. Just on her word.
Yeah.
Her word alone. And she put that black man in all kinds of danger.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
let's bring Labib into the conversation. Labib, first of all, how do you pronounce your name, and tell us where you're from and stuff.
Okay, well, the pronunciation of my name, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the pronunciation of my name is correct. Labib Hamid. Okay, and I'm from the New York area. I grew up in Syracuse, New York. I currently live downstate in New York, in Long Island, New York,
Oh,
which you would
we
get.
neighbors.
Okay, very good. Let me make this commentary. First, we have to deal with the reality of the criminalization of our people. Now, this is something that has been going on for a few centuries, as we have been, kidnapped and brought into the institution of slavery here in America. It was necessary to animalize us, as some authors have termed. This was to reduce our humanity to the level of an animal, and thereby justify the maltreatment of us as a people. Now, part of that maltreatment had to do with utilizing fear and barbarism to displace the natural relationship between black women and black men, black men being the protectors and the providers of black women, to replace that relationship with an artificial relationship, using the tactic of fear and savagery to the point of torture and or murder. So once this process was instituted and effectively achieved its goal, as is noted in the Willie Lynch letters, it was a deliberate process. Okay. Once this process of animalization took place, then the system of slavery, being able to use black people, was effective. Later on, after 200 plus years of chattel slavery ended, black folks, if you notice, were not welcomed into American mainstream society and lifestyle. We were still marginalized. And so then there came a time in this process, you call it the Jim Crow process, the rise of the Ku Klux Klan, so on and so forth. You had to now move into the criminalization of blacks. And as was noted in your last meeting, the author talked about how a black man could be lynched, what they called, what white people called, I don't know, visual rape or something like that.
Eye rape.
Eye rape. Just looking at a white woman, okay, a black man could lose his life. So what the sister just mentioned about here in 2014 in Connecticut, a white woman accusing a black man of a crime, and how easily the police took to that and caused all kinds of problems for this black man that could have been worse problems if it were not for the honesty of the little white girl. Okay. In fact, if the babysitter was smart, she could have told the police, "You cannot question this child without the presence and consent of her parents and or a lawyer."
And there would have been another lynching.
Exactly. Okay, so because of the criminalization of the black man and the black woman, that still goes on to this day. The media highlights the criminality of black folk, or criminal activity, if you will, of black people, highlights that. The ongoing opinion of black people is that the ongoing opinion of black people is pejorative. It's negative. It's not positive. We're lazy. we want to engage in negative and unproductive activity and so on and so forth. We don't want to get an education, blah, blah, blah. So it's there. The negative imagery is there. The criminalization is there. So the atmosphere is set for the use of force against black people, deadly force in several instances, and that the perpetrators, whether they be a man in uniform or a George Zimmerman, the perpetrators of this violence against black people, they get away with it 9 times out of 10 because our image in the public eye is criminalized. So we went from
and we're not doing ourselves any favor either. I'm hearing today that Nigeria has dropped the search for the nearly 300 girls that went missing to Boko Haram.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I think, Randy, how are you in there twice?
Yes.
I don't know.
You know, so I mean, I guess I would ask, has the oppressor succeeded?
Yeah.
But
that's a very good point, Michelle. I do believe that a large portion of our population has capitulated to this idea that we are inferior and whites are superior. And so this animalization, this criminalization of black folks, that process has been completed such that we have inculcated into our thinking that we are inferior.
Amen.
Yeah,
so
one of the
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One of the great lines from this chapter is when the young lady at the beginning said, "I am just as good as any white person."
Yes.
I think our goals need to be higher than that.
Yes.
But